here's the analogy I will make. When the Boston Celtics, years and years and years and years and years ago, had Bill Russell in the 1950s and 60s, Red Auerbach put a team around Bill Russell, this transcendent superstar that was unlike anything we've seen in the NBA at that point. The Boston Celtics, I believe, were the first NBA team to start an all-black starting lineup. They constructed a roster and a team that was built to fit Bill Russell. In Boston, Red Auerbach, in the 1950s and 60s, because they had Bill Russell, that team kept getting blacker and blacker and blacker. They catered to Bill Russell. In the 1980s, the Boston Celtics had a transcendent superstar by the name of Larry Bird. And they would put the whitest team in the NBA on the court, the whitest roster, 1 to 15, in the NBA, because they built a team built around Larry Bird and making sure he had some beer drinking buddies when he was on the road. That's what you do when you have a transcendent superstar. You build a team around their personality. The Celtics did it with Bill Russell. The Celtics did it with Larry Bird, and they won championships. Caitlin Clark is a transcendent superstar. I'm not saying that team needs to be top to bottom white girls, but it does need to have a clear personality that it's white girl friendly and it's heterosexual friendly. Indiana Fever need a man coaching that team, a heterosexual man coaching that team. I have no problem with Stephanie White. There's a bunch of other teams where she's probably fit to coach. But the Indiana Fever need a heterosexual leader. Who was the head coach? And I'm not saying Caitlin Clark has any problem with the LGBTQ. I'm not speculating that at all. I'm not even suggesting that argument. But that head coach needs to reflect her personality and worldview. When she was at Iowa, Lisa Bluter, married, heterosexual woman, and yes, they had that Jansen woman, the assistant coach who was very close to Caitlin Clark. Yes, she's LGBTQ. But if you go look at that Iowa team and why they had so much success, it fit Caitlin Clark's personality. Aaliyah Boston fits Caitlin Clark's personality. Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hull fit Caitlin Clark's personality. I'm not sure about any of the rest of them. And I look at the coach that has taken 2 leave of absences 15 games into the season, or how many ever games they're into, the 12 games into the season. It's taken 2 leave of absences. And I've read stories about Caitlin Clark and her personality and how much she loves basketball, and her whole life is just built around basketball. Everything's basketball, 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 basketball. And she's looking up and she's got a head coach that keeps taking leave of absences, allegedly because her wife, girlfriend, whatever, her wife's mother is sick. I just don't think that flies with Caitlin Clark. DeWanna Bonner, this disappearance for personal reasons. I don't think it flies with Caitlin Clark. What are we doing here, ladies? We're trying to win a championship. The head coach is taking days off, and DeWanna Bonner, one of our biggest free agent acquisitions, is taking days off. And the season just started. And we're wondering why Caitlin Clark doesn't look happy, and we wonder why, there's a scrap that goes on with the Connecticut Sun. And even though I think Caitlin Clark and some of her antics kind of bring on the drama, but it's not like that whole team caped up for Caitlin Clark, and they should have. You think Larry Bird gets picked on in the Boston Celtics and the entire team, including Robert Parrish and Dennis Johnson, don't jump to his defense? Let alone Bill Walton, Greg Kite, Danny Ainge, and all them other guys, Kevin McHale, all them other guys. They don't have the right team around Caitlin Clark. That's why they're 5-6 or 6-5. No, what are they? 6-7 maybe? Yeah, 6-7. They're like 13 games into the season. That's why they're off to a very disappointing start to the season. They're not going to make the most. I'm so scarred by all of these Indianapolis tragedies among their sports superstars. They're not going to make the most of this Caitlin Clark situation. They're not built for this Caitlin Clark situation. They don't have the proper leadership. They're so captured by the lesbian culture within the WNBA that they're afraid to build the right kind of team and atmosphere around Caitlin Clark. And that's what they should be doing. They need a male, heterosexual head coach. My preference would be Mark Jackson. And I say that in all seriousness. They need a male, heterosexual leader, and they need a roster that fully supports Caitlin Clark. Because, look, Caitlin Clark, and again, Caitlin Clark's not innocent in all this. She's like any other woman. She's a tiny bit emotional. She wants to feel like she's in a safe space and in a cocoon of support. She's a little extra, and she needs a little extra support. But the squeeze is worth the juice. Give her what she wants, it will be worth it. She's magical, and she can carry this whole league, and she could certainly carry the Indiana Fever. But as long as she's not happy and completely comfortable and doesn't feel totally supported, you're going to get an uneven performance from Caitlin Clark. After the game yesterday, and it's a very short clip, so I didn't have them cut it, but after the game yesterday, she made a point very subtly, maybe not even intentionally, but it probably was intentional, that she wants to play a faster paced game than what Stephanie White is coaching them to do. She wants to play fast, and she said something about how, but mostly we did what Coach White wanted us to do. And I'm not saying that's what cost us the game. It was just something innocent like that, but it was a peek into like, oh, they got some internal drama about what style of basketball are they going to play. She wants to play sped up, get that whole fast break thing going, and get the ball up court and get shots up as early in the shot clock. She probably wants to play like the Golden State Warriors and Steph Curry, and Stephanie White wants to play more of a half-court game. And when Caitlin Clark, this is where I blame her, she finds the most joy in jacking up threes. She's not really happy on the basketball court unless she's jacking up threes. And yesterday, it was very apparent early on, like, your three-point shot's not falling. You're getting all 6, 7, 8 assists in the first half. Just move the ball. Don't quit worrying about shooting threes. She kept jacking up threes because she's frustrated. She doesn't know what to do. I don't think she's fully on board with this coach. And I'm sitting there thinking like, man, this isn't going to work. Indianapolis sports franchises are cursed. And then after watching Halliburton get injured and having known the history of Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, Paul George, Victor Oladipo, I got Caitlin Clark on injury watch right now. I'm just like, when's something catastrophic going to happen to Caitlin Clark? Because there's something about these Indianapolis professional sports franchises, the Pacers and the Colts, injuries ruin their best players.